Hey, what's up guys? I'm Mike. I run lse90.com. We sell late model BMW LS swap kits for the 3 and 1 series chassis. This is an E90, a 2006 325i behind me that we're going to be doing a video series on, and we're going to be showing you the entire swap process from start to finish. So this is Frank's 2006 325i. We're going to be tearing it apart today and seeing how far we can get on the swap. We're going to be pulling out the N52 and putting in the 6-liter combo that he put together. It's a Gen 4 6-liter bottom end with a set of 706 heads, LS6 intake, baby cam. It's getting a T56, and we're going to be controlling it with a Holley Terminator X Max using the stock BMW throttle pedal for drive-by-wire, and also one of my can conversion boxes so we can get the full cluster working, including the tach and converting the stock oil temperature gauge to coolant temperature with the data provided by the Holley. We're going to tear this thing apart and see how far we can get today. Front end's off. You gotta pull the cowl, DME some of the harness, and it's ready to pull out now. The hardest thing to pull off on this thing is these power steering lines. We fought this little clip to disconnect from the cooler for like 20 minutes and then found out we just needed to rotate it a little and push it in, and then it popped right off. Before you pull the motor, you need to pull the pulley on the power steering pump, because we're going to reuse this pump on the swap brackets. If you pull the pulley off, you can pull these 3 Torx bolts. This is where it's going to bolt onto the new bracket, and then just take this power steering pump and shove it off to the side. All the stock lines, stock reservoir, everything else will be the same. You may have to tweak this lower line a little bit to clear the new brackets, but it's nothing you can't do by hand. So once your power steering pump's disconnected, you ditch all of the stock BMW mounts. It's only going to mount on these front 3 bolts now. You can disconnect the reservoir, set it to the side so it clears the motor as it's coming out. Okay, when it comes to the harness, you can take the cover off the DME box and basically the entire engine harness. So these 3 big connectors, you're gonna come in here and disconnect everything. You shouldn't need to cut anything, but we're really throwing away the entire engine harness. So if it makes it easier to cut it, then go ahead and do it. The only one you wanna pay attention to on this car, since it's an automatic, when you get to the automatic section of the harness, leave it for last. And there's a few CAN wires in there that we need to terminate together. Otherwise the entire car freaks out and your windshield wipers won't turn off. And it's real fun to figure out if you don't know how to fix it. Took me like 3 days to figure that out. Yeah. And it's all on video. It's out. Don't forget to disconnect the fuel line. This guy's a little stretchy.
That's a stretchy ass fuel line.
So sweet.
Look at all that room.
Like the LS E90 mounts go right up to the factory motor mounts.
Yep.
Good luck, because my factory motor mounts are good. It's like it's meant to be.
Our steering pump, it's all still intact.
Like, I need you to go faster, baby, because
It's getting warm.
it's getting a little warm over here.
You got a piece of wood or something?
You don't need it.
Oh,
Send it. The other clothes. Go ahead. Put it on there, Frank. Hurry before it cools off.
Grab the outside, just send it quick.
There you go. Put the bolt on there. Suck it in.
So if I'll do it if you're pushing. I love doing this shit. I'm a bolt sender.
Plenty of thread.
Send it up. Now, work it short. Keep going. Keep going. You need more sauce than that. Right there. That's the sauce. There's a spot. There's a spot.
Like couple Uggs.
Yeah, a couple Uggs. I'm disappointed.
I blended them with my
It's a
eyes.
joke. It's a joke. It's a joke.
This is 706s though. This thing don't have
It's
to
gonna
fresh.
rip. You're gonna spool that little rear mount. What size turbo? Is that precision?
Precision 76, 675.
I was gonna say that's not it. Mike's gonna put that on there and take the decision. Did you just put the...
So what?
I just keep setting it everywhere.
Oh my god. They gonna see that I can't put this goddamn boat in.
That was me when I got the fucking shit stuck. I'm like, I can't get in there.
This is what happened was I painted the box and I painted the threads.
You painted the threads.
So now they got paint in the threads. You got one of them saw winders?
Nope, not for you. Actually, I really don't. Hey, how far? Because there's a lot of play. There's a lot of room to play with on this mount. Because I think it's fun.
It's easiest to drop these motors in if you have the steering shaft out of the way, because that mount will come in and want to slide right past here. Otherwise, you hit the steering shaft.
Hey, well, where do you, they make all the... You all right?
Hey, we need to skip the chain.
You need what?
You guys
Hold on.
You need help, Frank? In the shop.
I do.
Give it to me. Let's change the position.
Bolted up, centered up. Get your motor mounts adjusted. Pretty much lines everything up once the transmission's in the center of the tunnel. Then you can crank the motor mount bolts and the stud on the stock mounts. And she's where it's gonna be. All right, as far as the holley wiring, everything that's left in the DME box basically has what you need other than the battery power, which is right there on the stud. There's also a factory ground right here behind the windshield wiper fluid.
Yeah, that's the ground.
So if you look on your stock harness on an N52 car, the blue connector has the starter wire. On the DME side, it's a black wire. On the harness side, it's a white wire. So you can save this connector off the stock harness and run it down to the starter. This green white wire is a key-on wire. The black connector that went to the stock transmission harness has two twisted pairs of PT can wires here. You need to cut these and connect red to red, blue to blue, or else your windshield wipers will stay on.
We're gonna need like a little tiny,
And then on the gray connector,
like a swivel socket.
I forget the name, but you can find it on Newit's. This has everything you need for your drive-by-wire, and it also has the wire for the stock fan speed control.
I have an LS3 one at the shop. Would that plug in?
You got an adapter plate? You got a 3
I
bolt?
do.
You got a 3 bolt?
Yeah.
Yes, that will.
I have a 4-bolt to 3-bolt.
Is it a silver bladed one?
It's a gold blade.
Oh, different than the drive-by-wire one.
The gold blade one
Won't work.
might work. Drayson's was backwards, it didn't work.
What was back?
The throttle. You hit the pedal and it closed.
What the fuck?
Don't make no boost.
You had to drive it backwards.
Dude,
I don't understand.
your brain would be all fucked.
So if you want to let off the throttle, you step on it.
Yeah.
And if you want full throttle, you let it go.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Imagine just letting it go on.
If you're on the
Imagine just letting it
brakes,
go on after.
that means you have to triple it, because if you're on the brakes, you gotta hit the gas at the same
Oh,
time.
that would fuck me up. Oh my god.
We can try it though, because I don't know, he just had problems. It's allegedly compatible.
Let me make a list. I'm gonna run down to the shop. Anybody want?
All right, so for the drive-by-wire wiring in the DME box on the gray connector, you can find which model you have on Newit's. So for this car, it's pretty simple. It's these 6 wires. So we got brown, yellow, brown, yellow, yellow, green, and white, yellow. So we broke those 6 wires out of here, and that's what we'll use to connect to the pedal wire that comes on the holley harness. So the holley drive-by-wire harness has the end that connects to the Terminator, has the other end that goes normally to the GM pedal, and then the throttle body end which in our case, this is a 58X kit, so it has the late model truck 6-pin connector. This will stay the same, but we will be cutting off the pedal end and wiring this to our pedal wires in the DME box. All right, so once you cut the pedal connector end off of the holley, you end up with an orange, black, yellow, and blue. Essentially, this is power, ground, and then your 2 signals. So you need to split up the wires at the DME connector. You pair up the browns, the yellows, and then the 2 whites stay on their own. Those are the 2 signals. So the orange wire on the holley connector is going to go to the yellows. The black wire on the holley connector is going to go to the browns, and then the blue and yellow connectors are going to the signals. These signals have one is inverted from the other for redundancy. If you hook them up backwards, they just won't work. You can always flip them to get it to work. But I believe the blue is going to the one with the stripe, and the yellow is going to the straight white wire. So we got most of the holley wired up. Got your constant powers here on the stock distribution block, grounds, small ground up in the main harness and the main power ground. Everything else is tucked into the box. I'll just close it up with the lid. I'm not sure if Frank's gonna run this into his glove box or not yet. So for now, I just jammed everything in here. Just have the ignition wire to hook up still. Starter wire. Need to hook up the wideband. Throw some plugs in it, plug wires. And it'll be ready to fire here pretty soon. All right, so as far as wiring the starter, you can find the wire that went from the factory harness down to the starter. In my case, it was on the blue connector. It's this large black wire. You can either cut the female connector out of the harness and use the white wire on the receiving end of this, or if you want to keep that harness intact, you can just cut this wire. This large gauge black wire is what runs down to the starter solenoid. But then what you need to do, if your car is an automatic, you need to come down in the footwell where your cast is located, pull out this lower panel. There's a couple T15 Torx, and it pulls right out. Then right up here, pull this connector out into the cast. And what we're gonna do is cut pin 41, which is located, if you're looking at it, on the upper left-hand side, the 41 right there. We're gonna cut that wire out that goes to the cast, and we're gonna jump it to pin number 4 on the brake switch. So basically what we're doing is the car thinks it's a manual, and now when we press the brake pedal, we'll be sending a signal to the cast where it expects to get a clutch signal from. So you press the brake, insert your key, hit start button. As soon as it starts, you let off of the pedal, and it would run just like a manual with a clutch. So just as we were ready to fire this thing, our battery was dead, so Frank's on his way to get a new one. We also didn't have the right starter. You need to make sure you have the late model, like a new body style 07 and up Silverado starter. They're a lot shorter and they clear the engine mount. Otherwise, the starter solenoid will hit the mount. So we got that in, waiting on a battery. Holley's all wired up, drive-by wires set up. Need to tidy up the wires. Terminator's running off the key, and she should be ready to fire as soon as we have a battery. All right, Frank, you ready? All right,
Frank,
give me ignition.
All right.
We're gonna try to fire this up, see what happens.
We got the starter wired here for now because I haven't got the. We're ready.
Hit it, Frank.
Hey! Oh my goodness!
What time is it? What?
Hey, you know what's crazy? We didn't even start with a roller. We started with
9:30.
9:30. We started at 11.
We started at 11.
We didn't even start with a roller too. That's the thing. We started. We had
This was a stock car
This was a
Yep.
stock
at
car.
11 this morning.
Yep.
So
10 hours ago.
10 hours.
And we had 3 hours of.
It's in and running.
And we went all the way to the southeast to pick up parts
Yep.
and come back.
Bad starter, bad battery,
Motherfuckers.
running.
Oh,
It runs good on stock fuel setup. Fired right up. So it's in, it's running. We got a bunch to tidy up. Front end, accessory drive, water pump, more wiring, but we know the motor's good. We're all good. So we started at 11 this morning and then it's about 9:30 now. So from a complete car to swapped and running. Not ready to drive, but pretty quick. The Holley makes it super easy. That's gonna be it for this video. We got the entire BMW drivetrain out, the new LS in, basic wiring done. Next time we're gonna tackle the accessory drive, some coolant line plumbing, and we'll get a little more in-depth into the wiring.